To destroy a society, it starts with the foundation, the family. Both men and women have become central targets of satanic assaults, meticulously crafted to dismantle their identities. These attacks aim to mold a twisted ideology, a realm where individuals are dehumanized, reduced to mere objects of manipulation. This covert attack's happening through international magics. They are infused into food. They are subtly embedded in school programs. They seep through music videos and various other channels. There is other attacks coming from Dajjal system or the Antichrist system targeting the realm of thought, intellect, waging a war against the traditional values of family, the identity of men and women, while ridiculing or rendering religion obsolete. The system has employed various methods to dehumanize men and women, causing the loss of their identities and consequently their destruction. Two such methods are the proliferation of pornography and the fashion industry targeting women. So let's start with women's fashion, or rather the pseudo-fashion that's there to combat the traditional clothing for women that covers their sacred parts. The goal of fashion is to showcase nudity in public, and the consequence of this attack against women is to change them to sexual objects, just vulgar items, and for men involve a battle against his chastity, urging them to see women as sexual objects and enhance their animal desire. What's essential to understand is that dressing immodestly, whether for a man or a woman, and casting inappropriate gazes, regardless of gender, are deviations from religious and traditional behavior. These behavioral deviations will have consequences on both men and women, and they will also impact the dynamics within a couple. So why should a woman dress modestly? There's a straightforward answer. It's a divine recommendation. Allah in the Quran addressed the prophets. O Prophet, tell your wives and your daughters and the women of the believers to lengthen their garments. That is more proper, so they will be recognized and not harassed. God is forgiving and merciful. Chapter 33, verse 59. So it's an order from the Lord of the worlds. And if God gives us recommendations and commands us to do things, well, there is wisdom behind it, and it is for our own good. Everyone knows that a woman has been created in such a way that she exerts a physical attraction over men. Generally, men are fascinated by women, by the physical aspect of a woman. When we look at what attracts men on women, chest, hips, buttocks. Indeed, the primary function of breasts is for nursing infants. Hips are designed to facilitate childbirth, and of course you know the job of the other part is a path for the newborn. So what we see is that the primary functions of the body parts that attract men are functions related to maternity. However, Allah has also made them erogenous zones that provoke desire and excitement in men. Therefore, to prevent arousing desire and excitement in men, these parts should be covered, and women should maintain modesty. The perception of the body differs between men and women. Men are typically more drawn to the physical appearance, while women tend to focus on aspects like presence, character, lifestyle. When a woman dresses immodestly, first of all, she will attract gazes, looks filled with desire. She will bring into her spiritual circle an invisible being, a male jinn that will roam around her or possess her. In other words, she will attract the bad evil eye. For a married woman, this is what is gonna happen. The jinn that possesses her or hovers around her will harm her relationship with her husband. All the time there is conflicts for nothing and about anything. This relation will end up with some new rules at home, for example. They're gonna stop sleeping next to each other. And for unmarried women, she will have a hard time to find someone or getting married. A possessed woman might tend to prefer specific colors like black or red, which are considered masculine in spirituality. For a married woman, there are two things. Either she won't feel physically attracted to her husband, or if she is, there may be intimate issues like vaginismus or frigidity. The Quran emphasizes the importance for men to preserve their gaze and maintain chastity. Of course, it's a directive that both men and women are expected to respect. Both will be judged equally if they do not adhere to this divine recommendation. However, the consequences of an inappropriate gaze are considered more significant for men. The directive in the Quran instructs believers to lower their gaze and maintain their chastity. It's purer for them. Surely Allah is fully aware of what they do. What happens now when a man doesn't comply with this directive? If a man gives in to temptation and looks lustfully at women he shouldn't be looking at, he may be assigned a feminine type of possession. The signs in a man are as follows. Again, an unmarried man may face challenges in getting married, but might find it much easier to engage in fornication. And when he wants something serious with a girl and intends to get married, he might face a lot of difficulties. For a married man, there might be conflicting relationships with his wife. Additionally, as a consequence, there could be an increasing desire to look at the intimate parts of unfamiliar women. Similar to women, a possessed man might choose clothing colors that are not spiritually masculine. He might also face intimacy issues with his spouse. such as premature ejaculation or erectile dysfunction. In daily life, such a person might struggle with self-confidence and behavioral problems like being highly irritable or prone to procrastination. They consistently put things off until later. It's been said that a woman dressing immodestly and displaying her nudity in public, not following traditional attire, or a man who constantly has inappropriate gazes might be accompanied by invisible beings around them, of a satanic jinn type. These satanic-type jinns are believed to interfere with their lives. Whether in their social relationships with their respective partners, it might lead to conflicts. In intimate relations, they may face difficulties, and even health-wise, there might be disruptions. Allah said in Quran, chapter 43, verse 36, "Whoever shuns the remembrance of the Most Gracious, we assign for him a devil to be his companion." So, moving away from divine guidance distances us from remembering Allah, leading us into forgetfulness and transgression, ultimately allowing a devil to become an inseparable companion. So, when you're in that situation, how do you heal? How do you get rid of these possessions? One of the initial steps for a woman is to change her wardrobe by getting rid of black and extremely tight red clothes, and then putting them in a trash bag. As a next step, it involves getting rid of any clothing items that are considered masculine or resemble men's clothing. Removing these possessions is very difficult because they are considered legitimate due to the Quranic verse mentioned earlier. So there are some pieces of advice that will apply. Healing begins first with repentance. Repentance involves regret for dressing immodestly or having indecent gazes, and the intention to not repeat those actions. Try to return to praying on time. It's extremely important, and of course, after this prayer, the recitation of Ayat al-Kursi, the verse of the throne, at least once, and for those who are able, 5 times. Try to perform these ablutions throughout the day. With persistent efforts, these possessions will fade away. On the contrary, they'll be replaced by good spiritual companions instead.